official. I own way too many books, so I decided to unhaul some. Hello, welcome back. I hope you're gonna enjoy this video. My name is Sarah, and as I already said, I'm gonna unhaul some books. So here I have more than 50 books with me that I'm going to unhaul. I'm gonna give some away to free little libraries. I'm also going to sell some on Vinted. I've already put a lot of these on Vinted, and that's basically what I'm doing. So with that money, I can buy brand new books. That being said, let's get into it because it's a lot. So the first one being The Loveliest Chocolate Shop in Paris by Jenny Colgan. I don't know why I bought this. I saw it at the thrift store and thought it was a good idea to buy it. Apparently it was not a good idea because I haven't read this and I have no interest in doing so. So I'm not going to force myself to. I'm just going to put this in a free little library because I don't feel like anyone has heard of this. So the chances of this getting sold are low. So I'm just going to put this in a free little library and hope that someone gets to enjoy it. The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. There's a fun story behind this. This is a book owned by my ex. But here's the thing. We ended on bad terms. So I am going to put this in a free little library, or I'm just gonna shove it somewhere in a box deep inside so I don't have to look at it anymore. So we're gonna put that away. Life of Pi by John Martel. This is a very popular book, but I also feel like this is a book that everyone dreads to read. The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm kind of hesitating. When the time comes that I'm gonna read this, that will be like 5 years from now because my physical TBR is large. It's big and I keep on buying books. And this is just not a priority for me, so let's put it away. The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Of course, we all know this book, but I am not interested in reading this. If I ever get the urge to read this book, I'll probably just download it on my e-reader so I can read it that way. Velvet Was the Night. I started this. I think I read a few pages, but from those few pages, I could tell that this was not going to be for me at all. In those few pages, I had to drag myself through those few pages that I read. Just because I read those pages and I wasn't interested, I'm not going to pick this up again. We're going to put it in a free little library. I think all of these books on this stack that I just showed you are going to be put in free little libraries. Ever Cursed by Corey and I'm not going to pronounce that name, but that is the name. This is a fantasy, and I feel like someone could really enjoy this, but I am just not the person to read it because I'm not interested in reading it. The last one on this little stack, then we're moving on to the two big pals. Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. So this is the Dutch version of it. I do own the rest of the series in English. I own Twilight, the whole series, in English. So I'm not going to read it in Dutch because my preferred reading language is English. But I'm gonna put it away in a free little library. How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. I have not, in fact, read this book. At the time that I bought it, I was already hesitant to start it. And I bought it anyway. I just haven't been interested in it one single time. Haven't picked it up, but I do think someone could really potentially enjoy this. So I did put it on my Vinted. Serpent and Dove by Shelby I am not gonna pronounce that name. This I did read. Round of applause for me because I did read a book for once. This is a fantasy about a witch and a witch hunter, so it's very Crimson Moth, but this was released before Crimson Moth, obviously. Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller. I do really love Trisha Levenseller, but this is not my favorite book by her. I just feel like it's time. It's time to get rid of this. I've had this for a long time. I enjoyed it while I read it, but it's just time to get rid of it now. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. Do I need to explain myself? I am not ready for this emotional turmoil that this will put me in, so I'm not going to read it. I have decided that I am not even going to try to read it because I don't think I will ever get in the right headspace to read this kind of books. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I am going to put this in a free little library because I annotated something. I annotated this, and I don't want to sell something that is damaged in that way. The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I started this book. I did try to get into it. I think I read 50 pages or something. I couldn't do it. The writing style was so jarring. The female point of view, I liked her point of view, but then we got into this man's point of view. I don't know what happened, but it felt like directly to the point, but not in a way that was easy to understand, but more in a way that you are writing an essay and you're just making some notes on it. You're just making some notes. Okay, I have to write about this. I have to write about this. I have to write about this. Not an enjoyable read for me, but I do know a lot of people that do really liked that book, but it was not for me. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This was one that I actually really enjoyed. It's also a hardcover. I really did enjoy this book, but again, I don't need to keep books that I'm not going to reread, that I'm probably not going to buy the sequel of. I'm just going to read the sequel on my e-reader, I think. I enjoyed it while it lasted, but again, we can't keep everything forever. The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. I do know quite some people that really like this book. This one I didn't really enjoy. I gave it 3 stars, which is not a bad rating at all, but I just couldn't get into the writing style, so I am gonna sell this. Now we have some Lynn Painter, because I'm getting rid of some of my Lynn Painter books. Betting on You, The Do-Over, and The Love Wager. Betting on You and The Love Wager have already been sold. I enjoyed them, but recently I found that I haven't been enjoying Lynn Painter's books as much. The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen, both by Daniel L. Jensen. This is part of the same series. This is book 1, this is book 2. I read this one, enjoyed it. I read it in a very short amount of time. And then this one I DNF'd. Wasn't anything to do with the writing style, because that was fine. I just couldn't get into the story, and every time that I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up, I was dreading picking it up, so I just thought, okay, I'm putting it down for now, maybe I'll pick it up another time. Didn't do that, and it has been on my shelf for so long that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of it now. Funny Story by Emily Henry. I know a lot of people could get mad at me right now, but I didn't really enjoy this book. I thought it was fine, but I didn't feel the chemistry between these 2 main characters. It is a very interesting story, though. I am sure a lot of people have already heard what it is, but it's basically she gets dumped by her fiance, he gets dumped by his girlfriend, and the man that she was with gets into a relationship with the girl that he was with, and then they get together as friends. And then it evolves into something more. So the premise really grabbed my attention, but I didn't enjoy the execution of it, really. It was still fine, 3.5, but it wasn't anything amazing to me. And I did enjoy Beach Read and Book Lovers, but I don't know if it was just this book or if I'm just over my Emily Henry phase. Most of All You by Mia Sheridan. I read this and I cannot tell you what this is about because I don't remember. I haven't retained any information about this book. We're moving on to some Colleen Hoover. So we're starting with this series. It has already been sold. Slammed, Point of Retreat, and This Girl. If you line these books up, I'm not sure if I can show you this. It forms a butterfly. So I was really excited to own these and display them on my shelves. But my Colleen Hoover phase is just over. I really enjoyed these books while I read them. And after I read them, I still thought about them. Colleen Hoover is just, it's past tense for me right now. And I'm not going to read any Colleen Hoover anymore. And then I have more Colleen Hoover. I have Without Merit and Confess. This one, I didn't really love. I liked it fine enough. But I did think that this was one of my least favorite Colleen Hoover books. Without Merit was... that was definitely something. It was really depressing, honestly. I'm not going to reread these ever, and I don't feel the need to display them on my shelf, so I'm going to get rid of it. It Starts With Us. This is the sequel to It Ends With Us. I liked It Ends With Us, but I didn't really love this one. And then the last few Colleen Hoover books are Reminders of Him. My mom also read this book. She also really liked this book. Layla. This was a fun one, honestly. This was like a paranormal kind of story. November 9th by Colleen Hoover. This was kind of concerning. The time that I read it, I didn't realize how concerning it was, but now I do realize, because this is categorized as a normal romance. If you've read this book, you will know what I'm talking about. But this is not a normal romance. This is not okay. I don't know what I'll do with these 2 books because it's part of the series. Crave and Crush by Tracy Wolff. This was like a Vampire Academy kind of story, I think it was. I enjoyed them at the time of reading. Not interested in continuing the series. Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. If you watched my TBR jar picks my reads for some amount of time, if you watched that video, I didn't really love this book. I just thought it was a bit of a disappointing read compared to other Jennifer L. Armentrout's books. Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. I own one other Laura Thalassa book, and that is on my TBR card. I still need to read it, and I'm not going to continue this series because I didn't really love the characters. I just felt pretty neutral about this book. Anatomy, a Love Story. I didn't really love this book. I thought it was kind of oddly constructed. In the middle of a chapter, it would change POV, and it wouldn't specify if it was changed. So you would have to find out 2 pages later that it changed POVs. And I'm like, why are you talking about something that is manly when you're a girl? And then I found out that it was not her point of view. It was his point of view. So it was just really confusing. It could have been me, could have been my problem, because I do know a lot of people that do really like this book, but I found it very weirdly constructed. Song of the Forever Rains and Dance of a Burning Sea by A.J. Mello. I enjoyed Song of the Forever Rains when I read it. This is about a different couple and a different girl. It's about these sisters. And I started this book, I think I got like 150 pages into it, and I didn't enjoy it. Ghosted by J.M. Darhauer. I enjoyed this book when I read it. It was a 4-star read. Do I have to say it again? I don't feel the need to display this on my shelf. I have so many books, so many other books that I want to display on my shelf, so many books that I still want to buy. So do I really need to keep a book that I'm not interested in rereading, that I don't think the cover is pretty of? No, probably not. We have 2 hardcovers, The Ivies and Damsel. My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. I do have a few other Tessa Bailey books in this stack. Let me grab them. I also have Secretly Yours and Unfortunately Yours. I am one of the few people that actually really enjoyed this book, but I didn't love this book. I just didn't feel the chemistry between these 2 characters, but I did really like this book. I thought the characters were very cute, and a lot of people really disliked this book, but I enjoyed it. My Killer Vacation, I also enjoyed. It is one of my least favorite Tessa Bailey books, but I still thought it was a fun, cute time, but I didn't really like the male love interest. The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. This is part of the Cruel Prince Folk of the Air universe. It's not in the same series because this is about Oak, one of the characters in the Cruel Prince series, but the Cruel Prince series follows Jude, and this follows Jude's little brother, who is now older. I enjoyed this, but I was really, really disappointed by this book because I love the Folk of the Air trilogy, and then this just really disappointed me when I read it. A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. I didn't enjoy this book. I know a lot of people that do really enjoy this book. So the male main character, he constantly remarked on the fact that this girl was a virgin. He was like, oh, she's so pure, she's a virgin, she's a daddy's girl. I just thought it was a bit gross and a bit overdone. So I gave it like a 2.5, and for me that's a really low rating. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I really did enjoy this book when I read it. I don't own any other Christina Lauren books anymore, so it feels kind of unnecessary to own this one when I don't own any other Christina Lauren books. This is the last stack. The Fake Maid by Lana Ferguson. I rated this a 3.25, but now that I'm thinking about it, I really didn't enjoy it. I couldn't get through this book. It felt like it was dragging on and on and on. There was too much smut. I can't even believe that I'm saying this, but there was too much smut. I do love a spicy book, but this was too much. I didn't feel like there was any character development or there was any development in a relationship besides the fact that they were fucking each other constantly. King of Wrath and King of Pride by Anna Hong. I really enjoyed the Twisted series. My favorite one out of the Twisted series is Twisted Games, as most people's favorite is. But this series was okay, but it was a bit of a letdown. Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. This is a really pretty edition. Look at that. But I really enjoyed this, and it's a really stunning edition, but I don't feel like I want to own this, and I don't think I will ever reread this. So it's better to earn some money from it than for me to keep it and me to just own it and own it and own it and never do anything with it. Last one we have is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I really tried reading this book, but I didn't enjoy it at all. Okay. I need to process this for a moment. Yeah, it's more than 50 books, but that does mean that I get to buy a lot of new books. I am glad that I did this video. I am glad that I got rid of these books, that I'm getting rid of these books, because I just don't have enough space. I have about 4 stacks next to me right now of books that I still need to put on my shelves. It's not gonna fit, babe. Do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, and if you want to see more of me, subscribe, and I hope I'll see you later. Bye-bye!